Big one. Yeah, there you go.
Jesus, we missed all of that. That was 2 minutes of the podcast. Avery, son.
Imagine if Avery would have hit the record button.
This is Wide Open with Chris Burandt.
What is up, everybody? We are doing another podcast. It's called Wide Open with Chris Burandt, not Bubba Sellers or Kyle Pulsifer, except I really like them, so they're here with me. So what's up, guys? We are burning the candle at both ends, as they say. Do you know what that means, Kyle?
Yeah. Fire at both ends.
You're an idiot. No, it's 9 o'clock at night. We just got done with like a 14-hour day, and we know we need to get a podcast out to all you guys tomorrow before Thanksgiving, and we're going to go ride tomorrow. So we thought it would be a good idea to shoot one tonight and have a little fun with y'all. So what's going to be fun is I haven't told Kyle a damn thing about what we're going to talk about tonight.
Nope.
But I've got my sheet here. This is my sheet. And my sheet is about a bunch of topics that you guys want us to chat about. And so the one we're going to talk about tonight is stories from the backcountry, injuries, breakdowns, getting lost, etc. So I'm going to set you boys up for a little fun in the shop. And as you can see, we have a little for you guys watching on YouTube. We're in the sled shop. The previous couple podcasts we've been in my little, what my wife likes to call the museum, where I put all my clean vehicles that I don't want anyone to touch and they can't wear their shoes in.
Yeah. If you don't take your shoes off, you're in trouble.
You're in trouble. Avery, who's behind the camera right now, go mop the museum, please. Okay. All right. So, anyway, podcast number 23. It's been really fun chatting with you guys this year. We've got Kyle back. Kyle, welcome back, dude.
Glad to be back.
A lot of people were really curious if you were coming back.
Dude, every time I did a post or anything, where's Kyle? You suck. Where's Kyle?
I don't know if that's what it was about.
Dude, how was your summer?
Pretty good.
Busy as hell?
Busy as hell. That's a good way to put it.
I only have one beef to pick with you.
Uh-oh.
So we could have a whole podcast of your adventure getting out here. Broken iPads.
There's
2
something
days
with
late.
the
Corona.
2 weeks late, a month late, whatever. 6 months late, I don't know. It always seems to be eventful, my trip out here.
It really does. But the one thing that I'm just bitter about, so I call you because you're my friend, and I like talking to you. I call you. He doesn't answer. Which Kyle, he's answered the phone 3 times in the time span that I've known him when I've called him. Maybe
How many
4.
times did we call him on Sunday?
Yeah.
4?
At least.
Sunday. What was on?
You were driving. I'm like, okay, hey, let's give old Kyle a call. He's got to be getting close. And so I'm like, he's got to be behind the wheel. So I call you, no answer. And I'm not kidding you. 2 hours later, my freaking wife calls you. You pick right up.
That's the first
ring.
To be real.
Hey, what do we have to discuss something?
No, we're good. We're good. To be honest, the time your wife called me, I had been on the road for probably an hour.
You were out of gas almost, probably.
Nope.
Dude, how many miles did you go on empty?
I'm pretty calculated. Past 0, if I'm averaging 9 miles to a gallon, I can go about 23, and then I'll run out. Miles past 0. If I have no load, I'm about 35, 40 miles, and if I'm really if I let off a little bit, I could probably get 30. But I've ran out in that truck probably 3 or 4 times. So I'm starting to figure it out. Or I'm not, because I've ran out.
Yeah, because you ran out 3 times.
You're avoiding the subject.
What's the subject?
My wife calls you, you answer first ring. Yeah, no answer. Get the fuck out of here.
No.
All right, let's start talking about some fun stuff.
Okay.
So
Not you and my wife.
when we did call you though, we just got done snowmobiling.
Yeah. And we were all happy and like, dude, Kyle should be here.
Yeah, we got some stories for you, Kyle.
You called me one time. I
all
think, right?
I might be exaggerating.
I
Okay.
had one missed call.
Dude, we're already 8 minutes in and we haven't talked about crap. Okay, so here we go. Stories from the backcountry, injuries, breakdowns, getting lost, etc. So I'm going to set this up. So we have obviously a lot of fun when we ride, right?
Oh.
And it's always the joke of, okay, we had a lot of fun with the clients. We pushed them to the brink of exhaustion. Let's get them home, and we get to go do our one more, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have one more, and then we have the times where we get to go push ourselves filming behind the camera. Hopefully Bubba can get to where we are because I've seen his skill. And
I'm excited to see
right
it tomorrow because I've heard about it.
It's getting better.
It's getting better. It's getting awesome. So let's talk about injuries. And when we talk about injuries, unfortunately, for a lot of you guys out there, it's, injuries aren't an option. You're a dad, you're working, you have all of these things, and snowmobiling is for fun. And, for us here, this is our job and our profession. And, some of the things that make us a professional snowmobiler is that we love pushing ourselves and our sleds and getting into these situations where, there is a chance of it not going right. And you so happen to be on one of the days where it didn't go right for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Dr. Evil.
Yep.
And so, I've actually talked about that a little bit when we had Phil Wybar, because he was shooting. He's actually shot every freaking time I've ever been injured. Punk. He always says, Phil. Actually, he never says anything. I always just want to do cool things with Phil because he's a good mm-hmm. filmer. But, I dislocated a shoulder with Phil, jacked up my wrist with Phil, and you happened to be there on that day. So mm-hmm. for this first part of the podcast, let's talk about injuries. Mm-hmm. What was that like that day when we went and filmed and, I got jacked up? Let's set the stage here first. Okay. So it was early, it was in January, mm-hmm. right? We had been like this schedule that we have right now where we're literally working 16 hours a day, building sleds, like not riding a ton, but just trying to get all caught up because we know we got clients coming. And, this was the first year, it's interesting looking back, right? 2 years ago. So this was two seasons ago. This was the first year that we literally got the jigsaw out and started cutting tunnels, mm-hmm. right? Prior to that, we were doing 155 tunnel length with 163 tracks. Then we took it to the next level of literally just chopping shit off. And so I had two sleds that year. I had Slim Shady, so it was ultra lightweight 850, all carbon and tie and short tunnel 163, and then we built freaking Dr. Evil. And you had a major role in that building. So that was the same thing. Carbon, lightweight, a bunch of boost on an 850 and a short tunnel. And, so I guess give just a quick preview of, what it was like building that sled. You've kind of become my sled builder now.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. From the sled standpoint, we had been working so hard. We worked so hard to get all our clients taken care of, and our parts kind of come last, and our sleds kind of come last. And we had your sled had kind of been done for a little while, but we had never even started it. Phil flew in.
Never even started it. I've never even rode it. And
a filmer flies in from McCall, Idaho, to come film us on your big fancy sled. So,
it's never been tuned, never been tested, never been ridden.
So it took us, I think we left here at like noon by the time we got everything clutched and tuned.
Dude, remember that day? Hold on. Remember that day? What did we have? we had something wrong. We had something gas wrong or something. We
put a new fuel pump in it, right?
ah
We did. Eventually put a new fuel pump in it, I
yeah
thought.
yeah. So spend all the money, fly Phil down here. We have 2 days to go film.
Mm-hmm.
Go start the sled. Something it like floods out or something. We just had a malfunction part or something stupid, right?
Yep. So
That was the start of the day.
the start of the day.
One of those days.
It was
one of those days.
It was
It was
100%.
It was like one of them days that you
dude, God was saying,
get out of the shower.
hello, go back to bed.
Yeah. It was like one of them days when you get out of the shower and you realize you forgot your towel. Started out like that, you know? The very first thing.
T-shirts work, but it sucks. All right, go ahead.
But we got the sled going, finally got up the hill. You hadn't even rode that sled before.
But you're like you said, it was literally like 12:30 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we pushed. We're trying to get stuff done, trying to get some good stuff on film. The snow wasn't perfect.
Mhm.
It was pretty low.
It was early in the season.
Mhm.
Yep.
And I don't know. When a day starts out like that, the energy's just not that great. And I remember filming in that. That was going to be one of our last spots, I thought.
Well, we saved. Yeah. We because we had been guiding a little bit, but we saved this spot knowing that Phil was coming and like so.
Tough to get into.
Yeah, tough to get into. And here's what sucks is so we're late. I haven't really done anything yet. So I'm a little tight. I'm a little cold. I don't know what the sled's going to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we find this like pristine, untouched hill that I planned on getting to, and we get everyone there and we set up for the shot. And I do a couple things and I'm like, whoa, this thing is rowdy. Like this is a rowdy snowmobile.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I see this one like kind of pretty steep wall, and I flag down to Phil. I'm like, hey Phil, I'm gonna go do a bow tie right here, and and it's already like it's in the shade already. The light isn't perfect. It's not gonna be a great shot, but it'll be something because I'm just trying to salvage the day at this point. And so I come into it, and I've done. At this point in my life, I don't know how many thousands of bow ties I've done, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so I come in to do this thing I've done a million times, and I come in, and the wall, though it's pretty steep, and this sled is a pissed off sled, like right away, riding it up the Go ahead.
One other thing, remember when I had my short tunnel and I mouse trapped myself? Like I got a short tunnel too, and I had mine for a couple days before that, and it was the full on in the same trench flipped over backwards. How's that short tunnel treating you, Kyle? It might have been a little karma too.
It could have been a little karma. I was giving Kyle a ton of crap because he was a mess, an absolute mess riding his short tunneled turbo, and then I get on mine that's probably 30 pounds lighter, more boost, all this.
It was her hot sister.
That was his hot sister. And so what's crazy is, so I'm riding it. It's not even at a break-in. I haven't ridden a turbo much this year. Mm-hmm. And I'm like trying to do these turbo things without really knowing what is going to happen when I try something. And, I'm trying to figure this all out on the fly. And so, okay, rewind back to the line. Phil, turn the camera on. I'm going to go do a cool something right here and be ready. And so I come into it, and I'm not nervous or anything. I'm a little uneasy because I'm still trying to figure out what the heck the sled is doing. And so I come into it, and I go up, and I do my full commit, and I'm looking down, and the sled literally, we'll have to grab the clip so we can show the
Well, yeah, I remember because I was just going through all the footage.
Yeah.
And I was going through that Colorado trip from Phil, and I was watching, and I was kind of skipping through clips, and then I saw you go up. You actually went right, I believe. You went right, and you just came down weird, and you just sat there. I mean,
yep.
You fall in the snow a lot when you do your bow ties, but you just sat there, and I was like, oh, maybe this clip isn't so good.
Mm-hmm.
Something's not right here. And then it went straight to this.
Yeah. So what happened, and this is something that, Like, I think about, what I'm staring at right now for you guys watching YouTube, what I'm staring at right now, Kyle just, sawed 6.5 inches off his tunnel. The sled next to him, 6.5 inches off, short tunnel, blah, 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 all this stuff, right? 2 years ago, we're like doing this and saying, I wonder if this is going to work. We should do this and just try it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now we're doing 30 a year, and the internet is like cutting tunnels.
Everybody wants it.
Yeah, right? It's cool.
Yeah, can I get a 155 cut tunnel chaos turbo?
Please. I highly don't recommend that.
I secondly don't highly recommend that.
Okay, so when I come into this deal and I'm going to do a reentry like I always do, so what happens when you cut a tunnel is you're literally cutting off the wheelie bar. And a wheelie bar on a dragster basically keeps the dragster from flipping over backwards. It lifts the front end a little bit and goes down the track. It's awesome. We're cutting that off now. And so now we have to learn how to ride a sled without that. And so again, uneasy, not knowing what the sled's going to do. I'm going to go do a fairly aggressive maneuver and just, whatever, I'll sort it out. And when I come into this, no base, not a ton of snow on a fairly violent snowmobile, I end up almost literally backflipping onto myself. So again, Bubba, if he does his job right, he'll show you this clip where I come in and you'll see my sled literally jumps out of the snow, and instead of rotating around in a bow tie, it literally just comes upside down and lands square on top of me. And what I remember from it is when it came back, the windshield knocks me in the head. And I felt that first, like boom, like knocked, like black. I see black for a second, like whoa! I just got my ass kicked.
Straight to the goggles.
And then the next thing I feel is like my wrist. And so for you guys who have seen over the last 2 years, like I wear a Mobius brace, and 2 years ago, I got pretty I'll tell you the whole story of that. But anyway, so right away, I know something's wrong. And I let the sled go, and the sled is just laying upside down, and I'm in the snow, and I'm going like this, head down like this. And so Kyle, what was your initial, you've seen me do like everything, right? We've ridden together forever, and you know what I do, and you've seen me stick everything. And now you just saw me F up.
Well, and it was too, because you had me grab a phone clip from down below too, and I watched it happen, and I don't know, it was the moment, it was a time that it didn't go right, which happens, but I was like, I don't, because on my phone I have the phone clip, and it was like, it was like, the snow dust fell, and I was like, "You all right?" And
it didn't look that bad.
Normally, my first comment when you screw up isn't, "Are you all right?"
Yeah.
I just knew something was wrong, and Phil's like, "Oh, I don't think he's good," because you weren't saying anything. So I don't know. It was just weird. It was a weird situation to be in.
Well, what's funny is, so you asked me the question, right? Mm-hmm. You're below me, and you asked me the question, and I don't say anything because
that's all you need to say.
What's happening in my mind right now is I'm taking a survey of what the hell just happened, and why does this hurt so much? That noise, right? Like, oh God, what is going on? And it's funny, I'm holding my wrist right now, looking at, where they did surgery on my wrist, and it hurts every day, and it reminds me every day that I screwed up and I didn't do it right. And so what happens this next step is what is, fairly, here's what I remember you saying when we got down, and all of, after the rest of the story, which we'll tell here in a second. I remember you saying, it's crazy how it can go from so good to so bad so quickly, right? And it was literally just we had filmed a couple shots, got a couple cool things, and then all of a sudden now we're trying to figure out how the heck to get me off of the mountain. And so, this next step, I mean, this is where you come into play.
Mm-hmm. Like as far as what happened?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we do what we are prepared for and what we have. So first off, we come up with a game plan. Well, I mean, we make sure that
So
you're
first
all right.
you come up to me,
Mhm.
right? Sled's upside down. I'm sitting there. You're like, "Are you all right?" And I'm
Mhm.
like, "Dude, I don't think so. I
Mhm.
need to get out of here. I feel the burn. I think I broke my wrist."
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep. So it's what do we need to do to get you more comfortable? What do we need to do to get you out of here? And then we're still an hour and a half from a hospital, or what do we need to do to make all this work? So got you comfortable temporarily, in reach your wife,
So InReach.
InReach,
Let's tell everybody what that is.
satellite way to communicate.
Yep.
So
So it's something that we all have, and if you don't have one, you should have one. We're very lucky in a lot of areas to have cell service. We do not. We don't have cell service, and if you do have cell service in your area, you got to be careful because there could be some spots where you don't. And so an InReach is just a brand of a satellite texting device that you can pair to your phone. So what Kyle's first step was, figure out, am I going to live? Yeah, I'm probably going to live, right?
just uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. Now we got to get some help. So you texted my wife via satellite and said, "Hey, Chris is hurt. Meet me at the trailhead. You got to get him to the doctor."
Because we're back at the trailhead. We have a gooseneck trailer and have sleds to load and all that. So we figured out we didn't need an ambulance. We didn't need a helicopter. We just needed somebody to get you down to the hospital. So we came up with that game plan. Then we built a splint, which we had all the equipment to do that.
Yep. We had a SAM splint, and we had like a gauze wrap.
Yep. And I think I hit your fingers with my elbow pretty hard once.
And at this point, things were numb. I'm such a puss. I almost pass out a couple times. I passed out when I popped my shoulder out. I almost passed out here and just closed my eyes, shaking my head like, don't do it. Especially in front of Kyle. He'll make fun of me forever.
But yeah, we get you.
So back up.
Advil.
Back up.
Right? Yep.
We have all of this stuff, right?
I mean, it's right. My tunnel bag's flipped open, and I got to turn 180 degrees to take care of you.
We plan for the worst, hoping for the best. And that's one of the reasons that when I go and film and or when I go ride, that when I know I have, you or, when Ross was here or anybody, Andrew, for example, I am not scared one bit. I know that we're prepared for the situation, whatever might happen. Obviously, I don't want to ride reckless, but if something does happen, I am ready to either help you or you help me. So that's one thing that is nice. I never think about that when I'm filming, which is cool.
Well, good, yeah. Well, yeah, and I think if that's not part of your riding group too, that's
So for you
topic,
guys who are like me and say, what could my wife possibly get me for Christmas? I get everything. If you don't have an InReach, there you go.
Yeah.
There's one.
Or even just the little things that you don't think about, like you and I were talking about yesterday. When you go hunting, you don't think about those little things when you're out there. Oh, I don't have batteries.
Yeah.
Rechargeable batteries.
The charger for your phone, or if your InReach somehow got turned on, right? And we all carry spare battery packs and a charger, and so I mean there's all of these things, and that's why this podcast list will go on forever. One of these podcasts we're going to talk about what we carry and why. So let's get back to the story. So you come to me, I'm jacked up. You call my wife again.
I sure did.
Tell her Chris might be down for a little bit, so we get a splint, we wrap it with gauze, so you immobilize my wrist, you hit my fingers, almost make me cry.
I was being so careful, and then I think I went to turn or something, and I knocked him, and I'm just like, oh, I felt that. And he was probably just starting to feel a little better,
And so, we're at a position, okay, so now I'm like, we got to get out of here. And so you asked me, can you ride your sled? And I'm like, dude,
it's a spot where if you're on 2 skis and your brakes are locked up, you're going to be going.
We're going.
Till you hit a
I'm
tree.
going down,
Yeah.
right? So I say, dude, I can't ride. I'm gonna start walking, and so I start walking out. And for those of you who have been to BBA, our snow, you literally can't walk from the fire we start at lunch back to your snowmobile. There's no base. It's all sugar. This is in January, and it's just tough going. But so I start walking out, and so now you start trying to get my sled out, and you're basically shuttling your sled and my sled because we're probably, I would say, 3/8 of a mile from the trail. I'm guessing.
And
right?
down.
And down.
Steep.
So I only have to go down, which is nice, but I'm still walking, trying not to pass out. And my wrist is really starting to let me know that I'm an idiot.
That's not right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I start walking down. I see Kyle ends up taking my sled essentially all the way down to the trail and then walks all the way back up to go back and get his snowmobile. And so you're hustling back and forth to do that. I mean, dude, I'm thinking to myself like, damn, walking up this hill and in this sugar snow, what was going through your head at that time? When you're in the moment,
you don't really think. Yeah.
It's just something you got to do.
Yeah, you're reacting. Yeah. It wasn't too bad. I think what I did at first is I was driving one sled like a couple 100 yards and then walking back to the other one and driving it past that one, kind of leapfrogging that way I could kind of take rotations. But I also needed to get a sled down to Chris in time so when he got down there, he could, because the plan was once he got to the trail, he could ride out. We were still 6 miles from the truck.
Yeah.
Well, the worst part about it is that it was your right hand.
It was my right hand. Yep.
So how you get out?
I finally got him his sled down
to the
trail, and mine was a long ways up because I got it. I shot his way down towards the end, and got him to it. And his plan was he was going to start working out. Phil was going to wait for me at the trail there for me to come down. And I remember I went back up, and I mean, it didn't take me that long.
Yeah.
I went back up. Got to my sled, got down to Phil. I was kind of a sweaty mess.
And so who got back to the truck first?
I know this is where this is going. So I get on my sled and I get new gloves on, get my helmet back on, get all my stuff on, and I take off. And I'm going fast because I want to catch you. And so I'm going fast, and then after I go 3 miles, I'm like, I should be catching him by now. I should slow down. And the whole time I'm kind of looking left and right. You never know what could happen. And then at 3 miles, I'm like, God, I hope I didn't drive by him. He passed out and drove. It's
I'm
down.
off in the trees.
It's down off the bottom side. And I'm like, I get to 3 miles, and I'm like, how haven't I caught him? I get 4 miles and still haven't caught him yet. Get 5 miles down the trail. We're a mile from town. I'm ready to turn around. I'm like, he had to have drove off the trail or something. And anyway, I ended up getting back to the truck, and he's been back there for 5 minutes. He rode left-handed on the throttle down this whooped-out trail that they haven't groomed all year.
No finger on the brake. I was very uncomfortable.
Drove out, beat us all the way back to the truck. But that's the story of getting to there.
Well, that was the only thing in my mind that was keeping me motivated not to pass out. I'm like,
yeah,
I really need to get back here first so I can give Kyle some shit.
Still beats me back to the truck.
I got to get back to the truck first with a broken right wrist.
Yeah. Oh. And then it takes 3 days, and I think he's giving me ski poles again. That's farther down the line, but we get him. And I remember his wife pulled up about the same time I got down to the truck. He's like, does he need help or is he coming?
and so here's the funny part that I'm thinking, this is just typical me. So I got Red Dragon, my girl, and the big trailer. And I don't think you had even driven it ever at that point. Maybe a little bit around here, right? And, my wife comes to come pick me up so she can get me to the hospital, and Kyle's getting in Red Dragon, and I'm just looking at that. I'm like, I think I can drive. I can shift. I can shift
with my left hand.
And all I'm thinking about as I'm going to the hospital, and it's starting to hurt, I'm like, I I wonder how she's pulling for Kyle.
Oh, it pulled good. I even took the steep grade out of the hot springs there.
Oh, so
Interruption.
yeah,
We have a new work truck now.
new work truck.
But, well, the Chevy.
Oh yeah, we've totally commandeered. Yeah, you guys. Unfortunately, you haven't seen Red Dragon in action because Avery showed up with a brand new Duramax. I'm like, we should probably make sure this is BBA worthy.
Yeah.
And
Demo this thing.
It's been okay. So thank you, Avery.
Rides better with a trailer behind it.
Yeah, it sure does. So that's when we talk about injuries. That's the one that kind of stuck out in my.
And then your next rest of your season that you stuck through and toughed it out and rode anyway.
That was so dumb.
All he needed to hear is that it wasn't broken, but he didn't realize that there can be worse stuff, which is what he kind of had going on.
It was the worst. I went to the doctor. They took X-rays, and this has happened to me every single time I've got jacked up. I'm like broke, right? I mean, I've done it with my ankle. I've done it with my shoulder. I've done it with my wrist. And I go to the hospital, and I'm like, dude, something's broke. I'm wasted. Please help. And X-rays come back. No, nothing's broken. I'm like, come on.
You're like, all right, I'm good.
No, I'm not. I know I'm not good. And so they literally put this freaking semi-hard cast on where I couldn't move my wrist. And I was like, oh, Literally, I got home, came out to the shop, put it on a snowmobile, could move my thumb. Well, shit, I'm good, dude.
Purple.
Oh, it was purple. On my whole forearm, everything. I literally, so that whole season, I rode with my wrist immobilized, which was dumb. I literally couldn't move my wrist. Now I've got good movement. I could not do that for a year. And so this is just typical being a man and being dumb. So we have an incredible snow season. Mm-hmm. I literally rode July, whatever, like it was July 4th or 13th or something silly. We had crazy snow at Buff in June, July, and I planned on getting it fixed after my season, but the snow was too good. So I said, no way in hell am I giving up this spring. And then I'm like, well, maybe I'll just get it fixed after Chile. So the day I got back from Chile, I go to the doctor. He does after reviewing the x-ray, he's like, it looks like it's still slightly attached. I think we can fix it. And I'm like, okay.
And this is a ligament?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, a ligament. Because that's what I ended up. I didn't break a bone. I tore a ligament. And he's like, but worst case scenario, if I can't repair it, I'm going to just take it out. And I'm like,
what sense does that make?
So I'm going to be lighter? Is that what I understand?
Okay.
I'm in.
So I am a cut tunnel.
I am a cut tunnel human? Sweet. And so, of course, right, he gets in there. It's totally trashed. It's junk. He can't fix it. He cuts it out and then cuts the pain nerves out around it. And so I don't know what the hell's going on in there, but I don't have a ligament in my wrist, and I can still kick your ass, Kyle. And so that's what I've got going. And it's silly. I should have got it fixed. It could have been repaired right, but unfortunately I don't have that now, and it hurts. It's not fully mobile. I do wear a brace when I ride still. Kyle, you were asking me just the other day, how's your wrist? And it's weird, on a dirt bike I'm okay. On a sled I'm still not okay. I still got to wear the brace. But so that was the story I wanted to tell on the injury side of things. Luckily, for you, I mean, you bleed just about every ride. But
should we ask Kyle about injuries?
Well, no, at BBA you've been good.
BBA I've been
dirt bikes. Holy cow! I don't know if we have a long enough podcast.
Dirt bikes, my file's pretty thick at the doctor's office, but snowmobiles, really, my only injury was hitting a deer.
Yeah, he told us that story last night.
Broke a collarbone, but that's as serious as I get.
You've been pretty good here at BBA. Was it your shoulder last year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Did it pop out and go back in?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it still bugs me a little bit, but we'll see where it goes. I think
Shoulders suck.
it'll be all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, the collarbone on the deer in Minnesota, that was my injury. But
Yeah. Dude,
I've never really been injured on a.
with the way you ride, I can't find. I don't
Well,
find
I
that
did, I
true.
did get injured one time, but we don't need to go into that.
On a sled deck
No, on a snowmobile.
with a finger throttle.
on a snowmobile.
Oh, okay.
I did tell Kyle last night. We'll keep that out of the podcast.
I usually take it out on the snowmobile.
Yeah, yeah. Your snowmobile's been injured way more for
Right.
sure. So, well, I mean, we can go one of two ways to end the podcast here. We can go with your deer injury. I mean, I kind of like that story. I'd like to hear that story, and then we can save podcast 2 for breakdowns, because you know what the hell story I'm going to talk about. Last
The one
year.
I've got a perfect face shot of you saying, "I'm gonna kill you." Straight face.
And then one that'll be really fun. We could talk about Lost. I have a really good Lost story. I don't know if you have a Lost story, but
Not like one where I was seriously lost, because
I was
it
seriously
ends up working
lost.
out all right. But it's like where it's like it could go one of both ways. It's like, I wonder which way I need to go. And it's always been like something becomes familiar eventually, where it's like, man, if I would have made that other decision back there, it would have been totally the wrong way.
Things would have been a little hairy right now.
Well, so let's save breakdowns and Lost for episode number 2 with Kyle. So let's talk about injuries. So you guys heard me. I screwed up. I got hurt a couple times. Kyle, dude, let's hear about this deer. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Kyle, from his accent, you would think you would know he's not from Colorado. Where are you from, Kyle?
I am from Minnesota. That was good, wasn't it?
No kidding.
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Minnesota. All right. And so Kyle, Flatlander, ditch rider, come mountain rider, come BBA employee. Dude, give us the goods on the deer story.
I'll start right from the beginning. I'm at the Candy County Fair.
The what?
The Candy County Fair.
I don't even know what the hell that means.
Candy.
Candy is the county I'm from.
Okay, so of course Minnesota
It's August.
It's August. Okay.
Yeah, you know, it's like where they have the corn dogs and the Ferris wheels.
Yeah,
They're
no, I
selling-
know what a
they're
fair is,
selling
but I'm
beef.
trying to figure out what a fair in the winter on a snowmobile.
No,
and
it's
hitting a
August.
deer.
We're in
Okay.
August.
All right, let's go.
Like, if you better keep this tape rolling, because it's August. I'm at the Candy County Fair.
Hold on.
And the
Does
lo-
anyone know what the hell he just said? What's this?
Candy wide?
It's a county. Candy is a county
Candy Ojai.
in Minnesota.
Okay.
Anyway, that's where we're at. If everybody close your eyes, I bet everybody on this podcast is picturing this right now.
Yeah. Okay, we're at a fair with a Ferris wheel. Go.
Man, the local dealership's there, and they've got a couple snowmobiles there, and there's this one, and I'm like, dang, I want that snowmobile.
What is it?
It's a 2015 Switchback Assault 800.
Okay.
So it's like my snowmobile
Yeah.
at the time, because I'm like, I hadn't been mountain riding before. I'm watching. I want to be a mountain rider.
Can you guys tell he's from Minnesota with his accent?
God dang it.
All right, go.
Candy wide.
I want to be a mountain rider. This snowmobile, I'm 16 now. That was my first. I just turned 16.
Yeah, 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Or
Yeah.
I was going to turn 16, and so that was my plan. I'm like, I'm gonna go mountain riding this winter. If I had this snowmobile, I can ride it around here, ride it there. So I go into the dealership that next Monday after the fair, and I was like, what's it gonna take for me to? I want that snowmobile. And the guy kind of laughed at me. I was like, no, I want that snowmobile. So I figured it out, signed the papers, got the monthly payment, got the whole deal all figured out, and got a plan together. There was a family from my hometown that came out west every year, and a good friend of mine went with them, and so I got that whole plan all together, and we get now we're fast forwarding to winter. We get 6 inches of snow, and I was like, game on. I gotta go ride this new
going with them out
snowmobile.
west.
Yeah. So I gather a few buddies, and we go out, and it's like a old railroad bed. It's a trail, and I'm like, I don't even know how many miles I'd had on this snowmobile. It was new. It was fresh. Like, I'd rode it around that day in 6 inches of snow, and I'm in the front, I'm going wide open down this trail, and I see like a little flash out of the corner of my eye, and it was like It was low though, and then I jumped it. I almost thought I hit like a windrow where somebody had plowed their driveway, and I endoed, and I should have jumped through the bars. I actually endoed right in the trail.
How fast do you think you're going right now?
85, probably 80.
Oh.
As fast, like as dang near as fast as the thing would go. And I had been.
And you're starting to endo.
Oh yeah,
we're like full Dukes of Hazzard, paused in the bad moment.
Mm-hmm.
Now Kyle should probably jump through the bars,
It was at this
but he's going to
moment
be a
he
dumbass
knew.
and hold on.
Yeah. Well,
Moment.
I came out of the ditch. I mean, a quarter mile before that, and I got on the trail, and I don't think I let off once till I got to there. So anyway, here we are. We're on the bars, and the bars talk, obviously, and I end up rolling. And I've crashed a lot of things, and I've rolled a long ways before, like getting ragdolled. And that is the one time I've actually had time, like while I'm rolling. Like it's pretty casual it's that like hour-long first second of your crash where you know you're going to crash, and then the rest of it just kind of doesn't hurt, doesn't anything, you know? And I'm rolling. I'm like, grab your knees. And I had time to remind myself to grab my knees, and I'm rolling. And then the next thought that comes to my head is I have 10 snowmobiles coming wide open right behind me in the snow dust, so I'm like, I need to get up right away or roll to the side of the trail as fast as I can. So the second I stop, I roll to the side of the trail as fast as I can. And I stand up, and everybody else was kind of like this, locked up brakes right behind me. And I was like, what did I hit? And they're like, what happened? I had no idea. I mean, I kind of figured what I'd hit. And they're like, what happened? And it ended up, they're like, oh, there's a deer. And the deer was down off the trail. And my snowmobile had rolled out into the sumac there. And
What the hell's a sumac?
it's a bush. It's a bush with like
I
little
thought it
berries
was a
on
bug
the
he was
top.
telling me about last night.
But anyway, I'm like, I'm way past my snowmobile, and I'm sure that rolled a ways. So the deer wasn't totally dead, so we got that taken care of, and then I'm like, oh man, my shoulder kind of hurts. And then my snowmobile, I'm like, oh yeah, that thing, tunnels folded down to the track, the handlebars,
Your
hood.
brand new sled, first ride.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Everything. And that's where that was, and I was like, well, will it start? And the kill switch was shorting out on the handlebars because it was smashed so much, so I just ripped the wires off it. Started it. My shoulder really hurt by then. And
Is it your left shoulder?
What's that?
Is it your left shoulder?
No, it's my right.
Okay.
I broke this collarbone three times. That's multiple other stories, but it's the right collarbone. I must just naturally tuck right and go, and I'm like, well, if I can get it started, I can ride it back. And it started and it rode back. I mean, it wasn't that messed up.
Well, it was a Polaris.
Yeah, you're right. So I got it back, loaded it on the sled deck, drove back to my house. I was like, yeah, I should probably go in. I went and got x-rays, and it was broke clean right in the middle like that.
Was that your first time breaking it?
Yep.
Ooh.
That was my first time breaking it. And my snowmobile trip out west was coming up in 3 weeks. And I was like, oh, man. I think I can make that work.
What he told me is that the sled was mangled.
The sled was mangled. I mean, it's like, I'm dealing with I didn't have enough money to just go buy another snowmobile. So I 2 weeks in, I'm like, I'm going to be able to make this happen. My shoulder feels all right. I'll be able to, this will work. So I get out some 1/4-inch plate steel. You'd be real proud of this bumper. Like it is the farthest thing from lightweight. I hang the snowmobile up in the shop.
Like your 2 sleds last year?
No.
Oh, okay.
Get 2 hammers out. I'm pounding on everything, straightening everything, pry bars, get that all pulled up. I put on 2 plates down all the way down to the footwell of the tunnel, rivet the crap out of it, weld across. It's steel.
And write Van Amberg on there.
Pretty much. Weld a bump, and hey, I wish I could find a picture of that bumper because I even kicked it up like these. Like it's the new stuff. I think I might have trend set.
You probably
a little bit
trended
there.
it.
Yeah, I trended it.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, kicked the bumper up and everything. Then the next thing was the overstructure. I took another piece of steel and bolted it to the overstructure because where the handlebars had cranked, it blew the front of the overstructure apart. So I bolted all that back together.
Plated that.
Yeah, zip ties, duct tape, And I was like, I called them guys. I'm like, oh man, I'm still coming. They're like, how? And I was like, I think I can do it. So I ended up cruising out with them and made my first trip out west. And that's kind of what it all started. And that was 3 weeks after I broke it. And then, I mean, I wasn't right, but it worked. And that's my collarbone story. But it wasn't. There was no.
Yeah,
collarbone. Anybody that's broke a collarbone knows they hurt, but the rest of it's not that bad.
Yeah, I've never broke a collarbone, but I think what's worse than that is that moment when you felt going over the bars that you just smoked a deer and you're doing 85 miles an hour and you're about to hit the ground. Like
it takes so long to hit the ground.
That is the worst part. Like, we're way sideways right now.
Yeah.
This isn't what I planned.
Yeah. Yeah, that I think everybody's played that second before in just about anything.
Oh, man, injuries.
That's a lot better than mine.
What do you got? We should probably hear it.
Well, I told you.
Yeah, we should probably hear it.
Chris hasn't heard this
All
yet.
right, let's hear it.
So, I started snowmobiling when I was very young.
How young?
Honestly, I couldn't even tell you. I mean, my mom sent me some photos the other day, and
I saw those on a little 120.
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't have 120s when I was young.
How old are you?
42.
What year were you born in?
78. I was born in the 70s. That's just stupid.
I've raced vintage classes before on snowmobiles that old.
Shut your mouth. All right. Okay, Bubba, you've been riding since you were little on 120s.
So we used to do like a lot of the poker runs growing up.
Yep.
And we had a big group of people. And if I remember right, we went to this place. It was called The Undertaker, and it's in Northern California.
I like this place already.
And nowadays you got a 36-inch wide snowmobile.
Yeah.
And back then I think it was 03. And I remember the vertical edge. There was this guy that had the vertical edge.
I think it was a bad boy.
And I think it was the same day I watched this guy climb up this hill, and he tumbled it all the way back down, and then a storm rolled in. But I watched this sled roll all the way down, and it was just one of those long days. I was riding a 340 at the time, and I'm 8 years old at the time. So I'm tired, right? Like, I'm ready to be done.
Yep.
And so we go to that big hill climb that they were doing. It was straight up on these wide snowmobiles back in the day, and I remember standing right on the edge of this thing, and it was straight down, and watching these people come right up through these trees that this sled could barely make it through back then, right? And it was kind of a sketchy. We went there a lot. It was called Four Corners, the trailhead, and watching the people come out of this, people would get stuck in there, and it would take hours for people to get out.
Yeah, because you never used the side hill.
No, you
went up until you couldn't go anymore, and then you buried it.
Or you bailed. Or like the guy that I watched go up. He went straight up this thing.
All right, so you're at the top of this thing. You've seen all these people fail. You're 8 years old.
Yeah, so
shaking in your boots.
So I'm watching these people come up, and I'm like, there's no way he's going to make that out. So anyways, we got to leave that, and we're going back. I think it was a big snowmobile convention that we had going on. And, we have the warming hut with the tri-tip, and, we're all headed back to the warming hut.
Yeah.
And we have a line of, 15 sleds. And I'm in the middle, and I think my dad was in front of me, and then one of the guys that I hunt with was right behind me. And I came around this corner. It was a left-hand corner. Only time I've ever broken a bone. And only time I've ever broken a bone. So I come around this left-hand corner, and I'm 8 years old. I doze off.
You fall asleep.
Straight up fall asleep on my snowmobile.
That's been a sick ride.
And all I was doing was trail riding. I was 8 years old on a 340. I was ripping.
You were ripping until you fell asleep.
So I hit this
is a
bump.
sick story.
This is the dumbest broken bone. Only bone I broke.
I think the button's God dang, get to the point.
So anyways, I come around this corner. I hit this bump, wake up, and there's this tree. I was going down this hill, and it was 2 feet across, right? And I swerved back on the trail, right? And I don't know if I passed out or if I fell asleep, but I dozed off again like instantly after that. And I hit this big bump in the trail, and I opened my eyes, and there was 2 trees coming up like this. And I just closed my eyes, and I just whacked this tree. And I instantly look up, and I'm like, where's the trail? And so I started screaming, and pretty soon this guy, his name is Bryce, just comes bailing over the top, just bails off his sled. His sled keeps going, and he bails over the top. And he's like, are you okay? And I was like, no, my arm really hurts, right? It was when you wore the face shield.
The bubble helmet,
yeah. And everything's all broken, and my arm's hurting. And I remember getting in the truck that night. We finally got my sled off this steep embankment and got back to the truck. We're driving back to town, and I told my parents over and over again, and I was like, I think my wrist is broken. And they're like, oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. You're good. And I was like, it was a couple days later. I think I was in 3rd grade at the time. And I was like, no, I think that my wrist is broken. And I was kind of a bullshitter back in the day.
Really?
I might still be now. And finally they're like, okay, fine, I'll take you to the doctor. And sure as shit, my wrist was broken because I fell asleep on a snowmobile. Only time I've ever broken a bone in my body. I mean, you hit a deer at 80. That's like kind of cool.
Not really.
I mean,
reasonably not.
Compared to falling asleep on a snowmobile.
Yeah.
So you guys have never got knocked out doing a backflip?
Nah, I can't say it.
Bunch of pansies.
I know. It's like Chris says I think you said that last year. He's like, you want to know what I was doing? He's like, how old are you? I'm like, 22. He's like, you want to know what I was doing when I was 22?
I was jumping over houses.
I know. He's like, you just pulled a cool tree line and posted a GoPro of it. I was jumping houses, doing backflips. I was like, man, you know how to
You
make a guy
better
feel
be
like
good at
crap.
concrete. Dang, boys, this was fun. We got to one of the 3 topics, and this is how podcasts go for us at BBA because you know what? It's awesome, and we have fun stories, and it's really cool to be able to share it with you guys. So that's what's fun about these podcasts is we have a lot to talk about, lots of fun things. In the previous one, I hope you guys enjoyed. We talked about some sled technique stuff. We've got a lot more of that on tap. I really think people will enjoy the breakdown story. Dude, that was classic. I was really mad at you, but it was
Were you actually?
No, I was really it was really fun. The worst part was
We had people waiting on us.
we had people waiting on us.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have
They were in the trailer. We had like really good food waiting for us.
Cooks that were
Oh man, and we're up there with a fire cooking a bogey wheel to get out. So we'll talk about that one maybe next time. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed another episode of Wide Open with myself and Bubba and our good friend Kyle Pulsifer. So you guys enjoy. We'll again keep leaving your comments, what you would like us to talk about. We really enjoy that. For all of you guys on YouTube, I hope you enjoy the backdrop. And just it's been a lot of fun doing these. And I really appreciate all you guys' feedback and input. And we have a lot of fun. So until next time, we out. You need to label these buttons.
Avery owes us 2 minutes
Can
of
we put
labor
that part
after
in there?
this.
Yeah.
I think that would have been.
All right,
This is
and
Wide Open with Chris Burandt.
We're back. All right, Joe Dirt. So let's get this straight. You're a loser.
Who are you
and-
looking at? When Chris Burandt says he beat me in last year's dollar bets.
The fact that Chris says he's not losing in the parts battle.
One measly gas tank. All right, we better start this before people hate us. No,
By the way, did you?
hold on. What are all these buttons? Oh, there we go. That's the ending song. It's
Talk about the.
a pretty played out rap, really. Didn't we have a rap like that 2 years ago?
Oh, come on.
was it called?
It was called Boring Rap or something.
This one's called Charles Barkley because it barks.
Yeah, I've seen you bark right into a tree multiple times.
Look at that front bumper. There's still evidence. There's a chunk of tree on that.
It's
bumper
right there, dude. Matt did a good job straightening it.
I'm muting you guys.
I know you are. All right, we out. I'm going to bed. All right, see you guys.